Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, it is now acknowledged, are a force for perpetual embarrassment. Those the words of Tim Dillon that we will get to imminently, but in large part he is correct, because that is why Prince Harry, a man who would have been expected before his move stateside to be one of the faces of the FIFA World Cup being held in the United States of America, has been shut out. And we're hearing it's in large part because of his personal feud with footballing legend David Beckham. First, though, here are the words of Tim Dillon speaking to Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Meghan Markle.
Yes, my favorite.
A force for good, or?
Well, I think a force for a perpetual embarrassment. Perpetual.
Are you happy to have her back in the United States?
We are not. We'd love to do a trade.
Well, the trouble is we don't want to get Harry back.
No, yeah. To me, what was very interesting about her was it seemed from the jump to me very transparent. That this is a woman who didn't want to fit into this family structure. She wanted to be a massive star. And I think she went about it all the wrong ways.
And the irony is that the royal family are, by definition, huge global stars.
That's right.
So you don't need to try that hard. You just have to do the basics.
That was her problem.
And that perpetual embarrassment is in part why Prince Harry is being snubbed when it comes to the official World Cup events. This reporting from Rob Shooter. Prince Harry has not been invited to the FIFA World Cup final. And insiders tell Naughty But Nice the reason is simple: David Beckham. The soccer icon is expected to be one of the biggest stars at the event, while Harry won't be there at all. This isn't about room on the guest list, an insider tells me. Football picked its prince years ago, and that prince is David Beckham. The snub carries extra sting because Harry and Meghan Markle were once close friends with David and Victoria Beckham. That relationship unravelled after the Sussexes allegedly accused the Beckhams of leaking stories to the British press. David never forgave it, says a source. The accusation destroyed the trust. Once that happened, there was no coming back. Since then, the Beckhams have moved firmly into Prince William's circle. David has publicly supported William's initiatives, while Princess Catherine is frequently seen wearing Victoria Beckham designs. The Beckhams chose William, and Harry knew exactly what that meant, says an insider. The relationship has been over 4 years. Now the World Cup final has become the ultimate symbol of that split. The event will be packed with celebrities, billionaires, athletes, and world leaders. Beckham is expected to be welcomed as one of the faces of the tournament. Harry, meanwhile, is on the outside looking in. If football has to choose between Beckham and Harry, it's not even a debate, says a source. Beckham is football royalty. Harry is yesterday's news. For a prince who once topped every VIP guest list, that's a remarkable fall from grace. Angela Levin is our royal insider and Prince Harry's biographer. Angela, what do you make of the fact that Harry is very much on the outside of the FIFA World Cup? And you would have thought, Angela, a few years ago that he would have been one of the natural celebrities alongside the likes of Lionel Messi and David Beckham, football legends who have made their home in the US, to become part of this flagship event. But the problem is he seems to drag down events and brands now rather than provide them with any type of royal boost.
Yes, there's two things. Well, we've just seen the wedding. He wasn't invited to the Peter
Phillips wedding, indeed.
Yeah. And he's not going to the football either. But I know why David Beckham was absolutely furious with him, because there was a footballer who was going to play it and all that. And it was taking place in Australia. And David agreed that he would go and be with Harry and they would talk about it and decide what to do. Harry decided not to go because they were upset with Victoria Beckham because she didn't give Meghan the right clothes, you see. And she'd also said that they'd been leaked to the people, and Meghan was furious with Victoria. So there's a big muddle there. Anyway, David Beckham went all the way to Australia, and Harry said that he'd got no time to see him. He doesn't want to see him. He's too busy. So there was Harry sort of getting ready to be with a football match, a very important one. And he was left very rudely for David Beckham. And I think, he is the king of football and all the rest of it. So it was a very rude thing to do. And I think David is someone who remembers people who are extremely rude to them for no good reason, particularly if they've gone all that way to Australia. And he had to come all the way back without speaking to him. So I think that can stay in your memory. And therefore, when somebody wants to come for a great football match, FIFA, you just say no thanks.
Absolutely. And I mean, it was a laughable claim, Angela. At the time, I was executive editor of the Sun newspaper. I was breaking all of these stories about Prince Harry and Meghan. The idea that it was David and Victoria Beckham on the phone giving me those stories, unfortunately, Angela, is fanciful. They didn't want to be in the newspapers. Harry and Meghan were being sold out by the people within the royal family, by the people with their own camp, by their friends, by their family members, because of their appalling behaviour. And the fact that they lashed out and blamed Victoria and David Beckham was embarrassing, and it backfired on them so badly because, look, the Beckhams don't do that. The Beckhams don't like the media either. They don't leak stories on their celebrity mates, okay?
It's a terrible thing to say about somebody, isn't it, really, without any real good evidence.
Well, if it's not true, and it wasn't true.
Meghan feels so grand, like you just said. She looks very high, and Harry follows her, dunk, 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 behind her. And, it's they're getting punished for all their bad things that they've been done for people and let people down and been rude. And nobody wants to see them. Nobody wants to know them. I mean, it's cringing, isn't it?
Well, it is, because it's a big event. It is a big event. And look, I know the FIFA World Cup is not a British event. Of course it's not. It's an international event, but it is being held in America, and the UK has this natural affinity with football. And just a few years ago, you would absolutely have imagined that Harry would be at the heart of an event like that, just like in the past he was at the heart of, for example, the London 2012 Olympics. But that was always alongside his brother, Prince William. What is going to be very interesting too, Angela, and this could be even more mortifying for Harry, there is the prospect, at least, of William travelling to the United States of America for the FIFA World Cup. However, it looks like he will only do so if the England team go particularly well. So I would assume that would mean a quarter-final, a semi-final, maybe even a final. William isn't interested in travelling over for a pool game or anything like that. Do you think that's fair enough?
I think it is fair enough. He's got lots to do. He's heir to the throne, plenty of things to do. And he wants to just see his land, his country. And I think that was perfectly sensible thing to do. I mean, do you agree with it? Do you think it's all right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, what I'm very interested with, Angela, though, is there going to be a visit for the 250th centenary celebrations of the USA? I know there had been hope for that, and it just seems the further we go on, the less likely that becomes. I do wonder, and I have suspicions, that William's team are not so interested to get involved in some of the geopolitical troubles that have been stalking the Donald Trump administration, especially since the war in Iran. And I think Charles's state visit to the US was such a success that maybe William and Catherine don't want to trample over that either. I think it would be a shame. I would love to see some type of official visit by William and Catherine to the US this year, but I don't know. It appears to be looking less likely. So if the best that we saw was Prince William at the World Cup, I would be very happy with that. Personally, Angela, I do want to see William and Catherine travelling more on the international stage. I think they do it so wonderfully. And look, no one well, certainly not me, had any issue with the fact that they took a lot of time off from travel as a result of Catherine's cancer battle. It was very obvious that she obviously couldn't travel, but it was also very obvious why William had to stay closer to home, because not only was he heir to the throne, he was also operating effectively as her caregiver and the main parent as well. But now that that crisis has passed, I would like to see them out and about more. I know we're going to get the big visit to India, aren't we, for the Earthshot Prize, which will just be phenomenal. But if we could get a little summer visit, Angela, of William to the US, personally, I would be right behind that.
Trump really likes both of them.
Yes.
Very much.
He loves Catherine. I mean, he loves William too, but he really does have a soft spot for Catherine.
Yes, and she was making quite sort of coy expressions. Very nice, lovely. But she looks gorgeous. It looked gorgeous at the wedding. She looks gorgeous at anything, doesn't she? So you can't help that. She's very kind and nice, and whether you're old or you're a baby, they all like her. So there we are.
I know. Well, look, we're going to have to wait and see. It's not impossible to think that Harry might still be trying, I guess, to get some type of corporate invitation to the event. But I just think it's so telling, isn't it? They're desperate for William to go, seemingly desperate to keep Prince Harry away. Now, Angela, there's been a lot of discussion this week about the 5th anniversary of Meghan Markle's publishing disaster. And I do think it was worth talking about, actually, Angela. This was on the back of a big Daily Mail expose, which was headlined, "How the Bench Became the Benchmark for Meghan's Erratic Career." 5 years on from publishing her children's book, she stalled as an author, while other ventures have had mixed success. Now, Angela, what's really interesting is that I know a lot about this book because I was actually the first to reveal that it was taking place. Now, this was back. I went back and looked at the story. Look, there it is. The 2nd of August, 2019. And my piece was headlined, "Meghan Markle is writing her first kids' book, believed to be about her beloved rescued dogs." Well, as it turned out, the focus, obviously, of the book changed a little bit. But the bigger importance of my article was that it was the first sign to the royal family, oh my God, this woman is doing commercial deals behind our back. And I was soon able to reveal that actually she had her agent and she had her lawyer and she had her PR. And at the time, Angela, because Meghan Markle was still within the royal family and she had courtiers who were looking after her, they sort of nudged me towards saying, oh, but they're sure that Meghan Markle will donate the proceeds of said book to charity. Well, of course, that was balderdash. She never had any intention of doing that. It was all a money-making exercise, but it fell flat on its face. So here is this expose from the Daily Mail, which I did find very interesting, even though I think they are maybe not being as harsh as they should be in this case. They wrote, 5 years after Meghan Markle's children's book hit shelves, the bench has become the benchmark for her inconsistent and erratic career. Meghan Markle may be best known for her role on Suits, but the former actress has tried her hands at many different businesses since quitting the royal family, from publishing and film production to podcasting. Soon after they moved to Montecito in California, Harry and Meghan found themselves inundated with lucrative offers from Netflix and Spotify. In June 2021, Meghan released her first children's book, The Bench, with Random House Children's Books. And shortly afterwards, news broke that publishing behemoth Penguin Random House had given her and Harry $40 million to write 4 books. Much of the money was spent on acquiring the rights to Prince Harry's memoir, which was published in 2023 and became a huge hit, despite including several damaging accusations about the royal family. But since the release of Spare, things have been suspiciously quiet on the book front, especially after Prince Harry's autobiography raked in millions in sales around the world. While Meghan was rumoured to be working on a wellness book with her husband before it was claimed she would follow in the Duke's footsteps and pen her own tell-all, the deal seems to have hit a wall, with no new releases expected. It perhaps indicates that Penguin Random House, like Netflix and Spotify, is done with the Sussexes 5 years after the firm printed Meghan's children's book as part of an earlier deal with the Duchess. Unlike Harry's memoir Spare, The Bench which explores the special bond between father and son as seen through a mother's eyes, was not a commercial success. The £12.99 book was published on June the 8th, 2021. And remember, that was the time when everyone was at home because of COVID, and really it should have been a success. A lot of people had disposable income, you weren't going out, that sort of thing. However, it failed to make the UK official top 50 chart after selling just 3,212 copies in its first week. This was followed by the release of Prince Harry's controversial memoir in January 2023, but there has since been no word on the remaining 2 books. For a while, there were rumours that Harry and Meghan might jointly author a wellness guide, but that has failed to materialise so far. Neither has Meghan's memoir been released after widespread speculation that the Duchess could follow in her husband's footsteps. Talks of another prospective project for Meghan in the form of a book began circulation a few years ago. Vanity Fair claimed in an explosive article last year, which was intended to be written post-divorce. The potential manuscript was not meant to detail Meghan's past experience with her former husband of 3 years, producer Trevor Engelson, but that of her second spouse, Prince Harry. It was not based on current events in Meghan's life, but set to take place in the event of a separation between the Duke and Duchess. And that is the remarkable thing, Angela Levin. That's all she's got on the publishing front now, the post-divorce book, and she wants to hang on till that moment because she knows that would be enough money to keep her minted for the rest of her life. But I was looking back at the bench and I just thought it was so interesting and a real sign of things to come that what should have really been a commercial hit. I mean, imagine the popularity, for example, if Catherine, the Princess of Wales, were to author a children's book. But for Meghan, no one wanted to buy her book for their children, talking about a parental relationship between father and son, when we knew that Meghan hated her own dad so much that she had completely cut him out of her life. But I do just think at the time, maybe the significance of that commercial disaster was not considered enough because it really was a sign of what was to come, Angela.